Okay, this will be the second time I'm doing this video because my phone battery died just now. I think it's really very tragic because I recorded like a good 20 minutes worth of footage, but it's all gone. But it's okay because I guess those who are reading this, watching this are very interested to study with me. So I shall make this last part, which I think we forgot to do last time because it wasn't tested for class test. So we're doing the impacts and management of tropical rainforest. So tropical rainforest, this is part 3 and the last part. Okay, so we are looking at the impacts as well as the management. These two. So let's start with the impacts. We learned 3 types of impacts, which is social, how it impacts the humans, or is it humans? And then we have economic, how it affects businesses. And lastly, we have environmental. Okay, so these are the 3 broad topics, the 3 broad points for impacts. So we have social impacts. So we are looking at the effect on indigenous people. Okay, so we can just box it up. So what happens is these indigenous people will lose their homes and they are forced to adapt to a new way of living. Okay, which means that they are also losing food and shelter. Okay, likewise, this causes them to be dispersed from their tribes, leading to a loss of culture. Okay, so that is for social impacts. Now next we have economic impacts, which then leads to this thing called depletion of natural resources. Let me try to box this. Okay, so what do we have for depletion of natural resources? I'll zoom in. Okay, so timber, food, and water are depleted when there's deforestation. So what happens is that, okay, why did this happen? Because trees are cut down to make furniture, and we are cutting down trees at a faster rate than the younger trees can grow. So that is all for depletion of resources. Now we come to environmental impacts, where there are 4 impacts. So let's start with the first one, which is loss of biodiversity. So just now we know that the indigenous people are affected. Likewise, habitats of plants and animals are destroyed. leading to millions of plants and animals and oops, cannot spell, become extinct. So we know that there are many plants and animals in the rainforest, and when they are extinct, what happens is that food, medicine, and timber, wood will be gone. Next one, we know that another use of tropical rainforest that is actually a water catchment area. So deforestation will mean that the water cycle is affected. How is it affected? Okay, due to a drier climate, soils are dry, or there will also be less soil when you burn your trees as well as your soil. So what happens is this will lead to less infiltration, which then leads to a decrease in groundwater. When there's a decrease in groundwater, there will be a decrease in water supply, which then means that price of water is higher. This is so linked to the impacts of water shortage also. So the next environmental effect, the impact that we're looking here is the one with a lot. Increase risk of flooding, soil erosion, and sedimentation. Okay, so what happens here is that trees are cleared and there is less infiltration, which leads to increased surface runoff, and therefore there is flooding. Okay, so when there is flooding, we are looking at, this is the first part, right? When there is flooding, it also means that our top layer of land and soil is exposed, okay, as there is less roots to hold soil together. This will lead to soil erosion as water washes soil into river. Now, when water washes soil into river, the third thing will happen. Okay, so the water in rivers turns cloudy and blocks sunlight from penetrating. Hence, fish eggs are smothered and coral reefs are suffocated via this thing called sedimentation. So this is the third one, in case of y'all cannot see. I'll leave this on for a longer while and go into our last impact, which is enhance greenhouse effect. I think we have did this many times. We have done this many times, but it's okay. We can always do this again. So with less trees to absorb carbon dioxide and sometimes also stock carbon release when trees are cut down. This will lead to increased CO2 in atmosphere, which leads to increase in temperatures, in global temperatures. So when there's increase in temperatures, it will lead to ice caps melting, sea level rise, and flooding in low-lying areas. Okay, so these are the environmental impacts. We will now move on to the last part, which is the management, and we have 3 management to look at. So let's start with the first one, which is protection of forested area. Okay, so you demarcate forested areas as nature reserves, and then you invest funds to conserve the nature reserves, and lastly you set laws to prevent human damage. Okay, so these are the things that you do when you have protection of forested areas. So when you protect the forest areas, what are some of the benefits, right? Is that it prevents people from damaging law. As there are penalties. Okay, another good thing is that native biodiversity is protected. Okay. And people can continue research on new species of plants and animals. Okay, so what is bad about this, right? I'll just put it here. Is that it actually SG has limited land size, and hence this will limit space for development. So that is for protection of forested areas. The next one that we're going to look at is reforestation. Okay, so what happens in reforestation is that we plant trees at central catchment area for Central Catchment Nature Reserve plus Bukit Timah Nature Reserve. So we are not just marking these areas out as protected areas, but we are also planting trees in these areas. Besides that, trees are planted in park connectors and along roads. Now, what is good about reforestation, right, is that it plants hold soil intact, and hence there is infiltration which replenishes our groundwater. Okay, so what is also very good is that it allows rare animals to return to forests for food and water. Okay, now it also, another thing is it also reduces CO2 in atmosphere, hence it reduces enhanced greenhouse effect. However, reforestation also means that positive outcomes cannot be achieved immediately, as trees take 20 to 30 years to grow. What makes it worse is that we are deforesting faster than we are replacing them. Okay, so another negative that you can talk about is there may be a shortage of native seedlings. Okay, so lastly, we are gonna look at public education. Okay, so public education also talks about how people are educated about importance of rainforests and how to conserve them through posters, documentaries, and lessons in schools. Okay, so what is good about this is that it helps future generation be more aware of importance of tropical rainforests. Okay, likewise, future generations, not future, when okay, So more people will be involved as the message gets passed on. Okay, however, it's not that it's challenging. It's not that good. It's challenging because not everyone is interested. Or believe in the importance of rainforests. No, importance of conserving rainforests. And then there's also a slowdown in rate of participation in rainforest conservation. Okay, so that is all we have for impacts and management of rainforests. Good luck in your studying and goodbye.